Travis Mack, a news move that was announced this morning. He will move from Junior Motorsports #1 entry driven by Michael Annett to Trackhouse's number 99 car in 2021, and he will be the crew chief for Daniel Suarez over that organization. So Travis Mack is definitely the fourth kind of guy over there at JRM to an extent because of the way Michael Annett performs in that vehicle, but I don't think he's the fourth best crew chief by any means over there at Junior Motorsports. He's tried his best with Michael Annett in that car, and without the results probably showing up on the paper and the scoreboard, this is a great move for Trackhouse. Getting the like of Travis Mack is someone, I really love Travis Mack. I think that he's a great crew chief, so I think him and Suarez will have be a great match, and they'll complement each other very well for 2021. The success hasn't been there in the Xfinity Series, but I'm not putting that whatsoever on the crew chief. I'm putting that more in, maybe even solely on the driver himself. But Travis Mack making the step up to the Cup Series in 2021.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot with what you're saying there. And if you look at the raw numbers, you might question the move. But when you kind of dig deeper, you can kind of see why this is a really strong move for a new team in Trackhouse there. I think the easiest thing to point to for me is that 2018 season. Started the year with Levine Family Racing with Casey Kane, then mid-season moved back down to what was then the 5 car with Michael Annett. And the proof is in the pudding in that season. First 19 races of that season, 0 top 10s for Michael Annett. Race 20 and onwards, the 13 race stretch there. In just 3 races, they already picked up a top 10. And at the end of the season, they finished with 3 in 13 races versus 0 in 19 with the previous crew chief. If that doesn't go to show you that Travis Mack is a good crew chief, I don't know what will. And then obviously the next season, winning Daytona was huge. Overall, just a massive improvement, going from 14th in points in 2018 up to making the playoffs and finishing 9th. And then this past season as well, even without the win, going out and finishing 9th in points as well. We know that Michael Annett isn't necessarily the greatest driver in the world, but Travis Mack has been able to get the most out of his driver there and hasn't been afraid to make risky calls as well, which is something that bodes well going to the Cup Series, getting an improvement in terms of the driver and getting Daniel Suarez there. He's not afraid to make the stay long call and hope for a caution, or make risky calls that maybe some other crew chiefs who are more conservative wouldn't do. And that's what I'm looking for if I'm a mid-pack team. I'm looking for something that can go out and can get me either consistent performance above expectation or go out and win certain races. And Daniel Suarez is a driver that can give me that consistent kind of performance there. And Travis Mack is a crew chief that isn't afraid to make the risky call that can put me in position all of a sudden to go out and win a race. So I really like this combination of Suarez and Travis Mack. Going to be interesting to see what kind of equipment they do have to work with. We don't know if it's going to be a third RCR car in terms of performance. We don't know if it's going to be closer to a Germain Racing, but what we do know is that Mack is maybe an underrated crew chief who isn't afraid to make a risky call. And we know that Daniel Suarez is at least close to a playoff driver based off of what we've seen with him in Stewart-Haas in the past. So I think this could be a very interesting duo going into next season, and maybe somebody to keep an eye on going into next season.
I hope they're not the forgotten entry next season.
It probably will be.
With the Jordan team coming in, like that's going to gain the big attention and the storylines and the headlines. But Trackhouse, I don't want to sleep on them. Yeah, for sure. I don't want to put anything past Michael Jordan's new team. But I think Trackhouse, another new team, we don't usually see that in the Cup Series where 2 teams are coming in at the same time. I can't remember the last time that's happened.
2 seemingly competitive teams as well. These are teams that are projected to be backmarker teams like a Rick Ware or even like Aspire Motorsports. These are 2 teams that have said that they're looking to compete from day one, and whether that's 2311 Racing, who from everything they've said are looking to compete for a championship from day one, or a team like Trackhouse that have said that they're looking to be essentially a third RCR car, which would mean competing for a playoff spot. So two very interesting additions here, and two interesting driver crew chief combinations as well. Obviously 2311 have confirmed Bubba Wallace and Mike Wheeler, which is a fantastic duo, as well as Trackhouse, who have confirmed Suarez and Travis Mack. So the battle of the two new teams will be fascinating to watch next year. And yeah, both teams, I think, have a solid driver and a solid crew chief to work with.
Yeah, they're two of the underlying drivers there in Suarez and Bubba Wallace. And then I think you got two underlying crew chiefs in Mike Wheeler and Travis Mack. I think Travis Mack is kind of like Paul Wolf Jr. In some respects, in terms of how he plays that long pit strategy a lot and is willing to take those risks, like you said. And I think a team, like you said as well, it's a perfect match for a team that's in the mid-pack trying to get results, to maybe play on that late race caution, pull two tires and see if we can get some track position, pull an RCR kind of thing that they did at Texas earlier this season, and maybe you can sneak out a top 5 or who knows, even a win next season. I mean, with the storylines that we've seen over the past couple of years, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that with the surprise result in 2021. So that's a great move there for a new organization in Trackhouse.